My name is Marie Hiebert, from the Deputy Director of the Southeast Asia Program here at CSIS. Our guest today is Ambassador Chee from the Singapore Embassy. We're going to talk a little bit about an upcoming conference. Ambassador, there will be the Singapore conference is happening here on February 8th. Could you tell us a little bit about what you see happening at the conference, who will be attending, and what some of the outcomes might be?
Well, February 8th, the Singapore conference is, I hope, going to be a very major and significant conference. It is a conference that is designed to give Americans in Washington, the policy community, a feel about what is happening in Singapore and in the region. The conference is going to cover Singapore politics, Singapore foreign policy, trade in the Asia Pacific and growth, security relationships, and even the topic of education for the 21st century, education for competitiveness and growth, and of course, finally, the 21st century strategic partnership. We are bringing from Singapore 3 ministers, 3 permanent secretaries, some deputy secretaries, and some of our leading strategic thinkers. It's going to be a very significant discussion.
So why is it happening now? Why is this time important, and why is this a pivotal time, a key time in U.S.-Singapore relations?
First of all, when this conference was conceived, it was to coincide with the post-general elections in Singapore. I knew we would have elections in 2010, and it occurred in May. And I thought about that time it would be a great time to bring the new cabinet ministers, as I was sure there would be some, we were always renewing ourselves, some new cabinet ministers, and to introduce them to the policy community and the officials in Washington. But it coincides also with a time when the United States has really started its rebalancing of relationships, the strategic shift to the region. And I think with this strategic shift and re-engagement, which the region welcomes, it would be important for the United States to engage with the ASEAN countries to have a dialogue on what would be the best way to go forward. And we can have our inputs, and we can listen to the United States.
Now, one of the themes that you already alluded to that isn't often talked about between the U.S. and Singapore is education.
Yes.
There will be a panel that'll focus on the importance of education to boost competitiveness. Can you tell us a little bit about how you see the U.S. and Singapore being able to cooperate in the future on education?
Actually, in recent years, I've been here since 1996, and from 1997 onwards, I noticed that there is great interest in the United States in the Singapore's education system. We've been topping or been number 1, number 2, or number 3 in all the math and science surveys of the Michigan University, TIMSS. We've always secured the first place or the second place, sometimes third place, for the 8th graders. This is a survey globally of all the 8th graders. And Singapore does very well there. And American teachers, the American educationists are fascinated with our education system. Some of our math word books are used in many counties in the United States in the schools. And one day, as I was driving in Washington to work, in the car radio was on, I heard a young student, a young boy from Virginia, being interviewed about following the Singapore math book. And I was quite thrilled and delighted to hear that he said, the Singapore math books are user-friendly. That was, I thought, quite a compliment, because I know what it is to study math. So I think we have a lot to talk about, and the United States, the Department of Education here, is interested in how we teach math and science, and what we do for teacher training, what we do for school management. How do you incentivize teachers? How do you pay teachers? how do you motivate, and recruit the best teachers? And on our part, Singapore is always trying to upgrade its education system. And I would say the United States still, for education at the top, the United States is really the best, And we come to see what you do with gifted children and what you do with the best and the brightest, and also what you do with your educationally challenged students, those that need special care. We have a lot to learn from the United States. And so we have a lot to talk about. Also, Murray, I think what Americans are not very aware of is the fact that Singapore, through private initiatives, has very many links with American universities and educational institutions. Many American top universities and technical institutions and universities have a presence in Singapore. They have a campus in Singapore, and that they do very well. We send our students from schools and from the universities for a term in Georgia Tech, Florida, UPenn, and wherever they wish to go. And I have school kids coming to the embassy to listen to the ambassador, but they've been visiting the United States. They may drop into a school. It's just a taste of America for some of our young students. And I think that's a very good relationship.
Great. Thank you very much, Ambassador. We're looking forward to the conference on February 8th. Thank you.
Thank you.